I've got a fun project today, and it starts with an 8-foot 2x6. Come on, let's go get started. We're going to be making a skinny bench, and the top is going to be 48 inches long. When I set that board down, watch it rock. That's okay. It's warped, but for what we're doing, hey, that's perfect. Here's some examples of a skinny bench. This first one, it's okay. And the second one, well, it looks better. Looks like it's covered with donut glaze. This one now we're looking good. It looks rustic. This looks like the real deal. Authentic, rough. That's what we want to go for. By the way, this one's on Etsy for over $600. We're going to make this one for $10 in about 6 hours of time. We're going to cut these legs out. They're 1 3/4 by 1 1/4, 20 inches long overall. The ends are cut on a 15-degree angle, going the same way on each end. Check out those round spindles. I was going to use those in between the legs for supports, but I've decided to use them on a different project another time. I'm just beginning to distress the wood. Stick around to the end of this video, and there's a bunch of secrets to make it look more authentic and real. And I'm going to share those with you as we go along and at the end of the video. I used a lot of different tools to distress this project, and that seems counterintuitive to woodworkers to rough up what you're building, but that's what this project calls for. This little pick that I'm using it's one that I kept going back to. It really digs in and gouges, and it helps what looks like a split in the wood when it's all said and done. Those things are available at Harbor Freight for just a couple dollars for a set. Here's a little secret about this project. There is no right or wrong way to distress it. At the end, I'll share some of the secrets that's going to take this bench looking like one that was made out of some lumber to looking like the real deal, like it's 100 years old and you dug it out of the back of a barn somewhere, some kind of a barn find. Of all the drill, shaping, carving bits, I like the smaller cone. I used a variety because I had them, but I found I kept going back to the small cone because it worked best for me. Channel your inner Bob Ross here. These edges, when lumber comes out of the sawmill, you know, it's relatively squared. And for this to look the real deal, you've got to eliminate the edges, smoothing them over, rounding them over, gouging them out, whatever it takes so that they're not there. That's one of the biggest tricks to making this look real. The belt sander, it's got 36 grit on it. I'm using it to break the corners on the end so they don't have that factory type edge. The ends need to be gouged up, and I'm going to do that using a rasp and a chisel. And then I'll go back to that little pick you saw me use earlier. That'll add to the authenticity. The wire cup that I'm using, that's something you want to do. It's necessary to get that authentic aged look. You don't get to really see how it's going to help you out until you put the stain on, but we'll get to that. When you think you're getting close to being done distressing, nah, just keep going. More is more. Less is not more in this case. I wanted to show you this cone bit up close. I'm going to follow the light colored wood between the darker areas. The light wood is softer, and if you think about it, that is the part of wood that would weather quicker. Remember, this bench hopefully will look like it's 100+ years old. You found it in a dark corner of some barn somewhere. The gouges on the end are starting to take shape. I'm just switching back and forth using various tools to keep on distressing. Marks from the axe and the hammer, etc. I'm going to use wire cup to soften those marks. They need to look like they happened a long time ago. Think Bob Ross again. With a real sharp nail set, I tapped in a little pattern of holes. They look like wormholes, and it adds to the look. I found that the legs cut at 15 degrees, both top and bottom, work well. On other benches where the legs go out the other way, I use an 11-degree angle, and that works real well for those. I need to cut the bottom end of the legs, and here you can see they all get cut the same angle. They get mounted with pocket hole screws, so that's next. The realization just hit. On the outside, that's fine. That's wrong. That's why you're watching me, so you can learn, not make the mistakes. Drill the pocket holes, perfect for this piece. One here, they'll be on the bottom. I drilled these on the outside. So now I got to make some more of these and drill them on the inside. So learn from that. When you put the pocket hole screws on, you want to go from the longer side. There's no fixing that unless I want a shorter bench. And I may use these for another bench, but I can't use them for this one. So I gotta go back and drill some pocket hole screws on the long side. I'll be right back. Note to self, moving forward, mark the side I need the pocket holes on. After remaking one set of legs, I assembled them, and then after mounting them to the bench, I flipped the bench over, and here's what I've got. It's not solid. But remember, that board, the top is warped, so I gotta fix it. Now that the bench is level and solid, it's time to move on. I'm going to remove the leg assemblies one at a time and work on them separately. So I'm thinking Bob Ross again. Remember back that first example I showed you? It didn't look like a historic piece. Here's why. The legs, the edges, the lower beam, they just didn't sell me on it. They were too straight, too lumber mill. They didn't tell a story of, hey, it was 100 years old, it'd been used forever. Just didn't have that look. So I've got to be sure on my bench to break the edges. The lower part of the legs would have taken a lot of abuse, probably gotten beat up and roughed up a lot over the years. So even splits. So again, I'm going to use that little pick to simulate splits. I'm going to use gouge, chisel, files. It would have been one of the most vulnerable areas of the bench, and the ends would have wound up rough over time. So I wanted to be sure that they were very chippy. Here's a perfect example. Those straight edges look so out of place for what we're trying to do. If it's not beat up, chipped up, a little banged up, it's never going to look authentic. putting the leg assembly back on the bench, I'm careful to line up my marks to ensure I'm getting it in the right location. I took the other leg assembly off and distressed it. Now I'm back to the top, and I'm not satisfied with the way it looks. A little more distressing. So I'm going to take a few minutes and do that. Well, let's take a look at the bench, see how it's looking so far. Well, I saw it, and I know you did too. We're gonna have to fix it. I've got some pocket hole plugs, gonna glue those in place, let them dry, and move on. It's almost time to stain, but before, I'm giving it one more look over for any unweathered, unworn edges, which will take away from that look that I'm after. The stain process is an important part of making this bench look like it was found in some old root cellar somewhere or the back of a barn. First, I'm using a dark stain, and I want that deep in the grooves. Then after that, I'm going to quickly come along and wipe that off. After that, I'm going to add another lighter stain and blend it, rubbing it in, and sometimes I have to go back and do it more than one time. Earlier, we were talking about how that wire cup brush was important in the staining process. Here it is. It puts little swirls deep enough in the wood that that dark stain gets in those grooves. When you wipe that off and put the lighter finish on, it really shows up and it got that aged look to it. As far as tips, I would suggest when you assemble the legs, leave them assembled and work on them afterwards. The second, I would say there is no right or wrong as far as distressing goes. Eliminate sawmill edges. I think that one is critical. And when you think you're done, no, just keep going. Keep distressing. You can't overdo it. Another one would be using the wire cup. I think that's critical. And stain has got to have 2 different color stains to make it look the way you want. This is what we started with. How did it turn out? Is it 1 okay? Or was it a number 2 caramel glazed donut? Number 3 pretty good? Look at the price of this thing. Or was it a number 4 authentic real deal? You tell me in the comments. Here's what we got. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't like the video, don't just give it a thumbs down, give it 2 thumbs down. That way I'll really know how you feel. And just kidding. By the way, my lovely wife Rebecca, she's laid claim to this bench, and that's just fine by me.